The backwards Earth. Nothing on this planet is missing. Nothing died. Nothing evolved differently. One thing is different. It turns the other way. In 2018, a team at the Max Planck Institute did this for real. They took the model they used to forecast the climate of our own planet and reversed the spin. Same sun, same continents, same oceans, rotation flipped. They expected a mirror. They got a different planet. The energy budget barely moved. The planet takes in the same heat and gives out the same heat. What changed was the map of where the rain lands. The Sahara turns green. 9 million square kilometers of sand, the largest hot desert on this planet, goes under grass and scrub. The rain arrives from a side it never arrives from. The deserts do not disappear. They move. Dry belts open across the Americas, in places that are green on your map. In the ocean, the conveyor breaks. On our Earth, water sinks in the North Atlantic and drags heat up out of the tropics. On this Earth, that engine shuts down and starts again in the Pacific. Then the model produced something nobody asked for. In the northern Indian Ocean, deep water came up loaded with phosphate and stripped of nitrate. Most plankton needs nitrate. Cyanobacteria does not. So across a stretch of ocean the size of a continent, the primitive thing wins. On our planet, those blooms stay local. Here they take the whole basin. Stand on that shore. The wind hits your face from a direction it never comes from. Behind you, the Sahara is wet. In front of you, the water is not blue. It is the color of pond scum, and it runs to the horizon. And this is the planet we walked out of. Our species left Africa across a drying Sahara. Turn the world around and that door never dries. The grain belt sits somewhere else, and every city we built on a coast is built on the wrong coast. Same Earth, same everything, one direction. The Moonless Earth. 4.5 billion years ago, a body the size of Mars hit this planet. On this Earth it goes past. No collision, no ring of debris, no moon. Everything else proceeds. The first thing you would notice is the length of the day. The moon has been breaking this planet for billions of years, dragging on the oceans and stealing rotation. Without it, nothing slows Earth down. The day stays close to where it started, a few hours long. Sunrise, noon, dark, before you finish one meal. The tides nearly vanish. The sun still pulls the water, but weakly. The great twice-a-day sloshing is gone, and so is the strip of ground that floods and drains, floods and drains. That strip is where life first practiced being out of water. For decades, this world had a headline. In 1993, the calculations said that without the moon holding it steady, the tilt could swing all the way to 90 degrees, the planet lying on its side, poles cooking and the equator frozen. In 2011, a new set of simulations cut that down. The tilt still wanders, but by 20 to 25 degrees. The nightmare got smaller and it did not go away. Seasons never settle into a pattern anything can build a body around. No eclipse ever happens here. Nothing in this sky is ever big enough to cover the sun, and the night is properly dark, no second light, nothing to see by, nothing to hunt by. So what lives here? Plants, probably. Photosynthesis does not need a moon, it needs a sun and water, and both are here. Green spreads. It covers everything. Animals are the problem. Short, violent days, a tilt that wanders, and no tidal shoreline to crawl out onto. So picture the view, a green planet, warm, wet, lit, alive, and silent. Not one bird call. Nothing moves except the wind in the leaves and the shadow crossing the ground every 3 hours. That is the Earth where the biggest rock in our history missed. The Earth with two kinds of human. This one nearly happened, and the proof is inside your body. Around 50,500 years ago, our ancestors met Neanderthals and had children with them. The 2024 timeline out of Berkeley puts that window at roughly 7,000 years long. It left a mark. If your family comes from outside Africa, 1 to 2% of your genome is Neanderthal. Then they were gone. For a century, the story was that we outfought them. Better tools, better heads, and the brutes lost. The Natural History Museum put out a different version in 2022. There may never have been a war at all. Their population was small and scattered, ours was large, and every time the two mixed, Neanderthals went into us, and their separate line got thinner. They were not wiped out, they were absorbed. Change one number, the size of their population, and they hold. There is nothing exotic in this world. No new physics, just a second kind of human that survives. They were not us in fur. Barrel chest, wide rib cage, heavy limbs built for cold, and a brain case slightly bigger than the one you are using. They made tools, buried their dead, used fire, used pigment. So walk into a town on that earth. Half the people in the street are a different species. They speak something you will never learn. You share a great-grandparent 40,000 years back. Everything we say about ourselves breaks. Human stops being one thing. This is the only world on this list where we are still here, and it is still not our planet. The Earth where the rock missed. 66 million years ago, a mountain of stone from beyond Jupiter came down on the Yucatan. The comfortable version of this story says the dinosaurs were finished anyway, that they were already fading and the impact just closed the file. A team from Bath and the Natural History Museum went through the fossil record and found no decline. Their groups were still producing new species. They were not on the way out. Something hit them. So take the miss. The rock arrives a few minutes early. The planet's own spin puts deep ocean under it instead of a shallow shelf, and the dust never gets into the sky. No global winter, no collapse of the food chain. The dinosaurs keep the planet, and mammals keep exactly what they had, which was almost nothing. For 160 million years, our ancestors were small, nocturnal, and out of the way, the size of a rat, living in the gaps. The impact did not just remove the competition, it handed us the daytime. In 1982, two paleontologists took the smartest dinosaur they knew of and asked what 50 million more years might do to it. Then they built the thing and put it in a museum. It stands upright. It has almost no tail, a domed skull, eyes facing forward, and hands. It is a guess and nobody claims it is what would have arrived. But something was going to fill that chair. So there is a city on that earth, and you are not in it. Every person you have ever met exists because of one bad morning for something else. The Earth that never died. 251,900,000 years ago, this planet came closer to sterilizing itself than at any moment before or since. 57% of all families, 62% of all genera, 81% of everything in the ocean, 70% of the vertebrates on land. Now do not let it happen. The animals running this planet before the collapse were not reptiles. They were synapsids, our own side of the family, and the top of them was the gorgonopsid, a predator the size of a bear with a saber on each side of its jaw, walking on legs that stuck out sideways. They were already winning. Take away the volcanoes and they never stop. And here is the part that makes this the strangest world on the list. Work out of Bristol found that the switch to warm blood, in the ancestors of both mammals and birds, lands on that exact boundary. So does the change from a sprawling stance to legs underneath the body. The timing does not prove the catastrophe caused it. Nobody has found a better candidate for the pressure. Remove the catastrophe and that pressure never builds. The planet very likely stays cold-blooded and low to the ground. No dinosaurs. Birds never happen because the line that becomes them never gets going. Mammals stay a footnote. Stand in that world in the morning. Nothing is moving yet. Everything on this planet is waiting for the sun to load its body with heat because nothing here makes its own. When the light comes over the ridge, the ground starts working. The worst day in the history of life is probably the reason you are warm. The Earth where we left. Every other world on this list is behind us. This one is not. No war, no rock, no plague. Take the people out and leave everything standing. Water goes first, and it goes fast. In New York, the pumps stop and the subway floods in days, not decades, days, and the water starts working on the foundations of the city from underneath. Some things go with us. In cities that stop being heated, the tropical insects that live in our buildings freeze, and some things go up immediately. Billions more birds. Wiseman's book put a number on the visible part. A residential street becomes forest inside 500 years. The longest-lasting things we leave are radioactive waste, bronze, plastic, and the faces cut into Mount Rushmore. And we do not have to guess because there is a sample. In 1986, the people around Chernobyl left in a single week and never came back. Wolves, lynx, bison, and Przewalski's horses moved in. In 2014, a camera trap caught a brown bear inside the zone, the first in that area in over a century. The dogs are descended from pets that were left behind. Scientists still argue about whether the radiation is hurting those animals or not. Nobody argues about the other part. They came back the moment we were gone. So stand on that street. Every building you know is still there, and every one of them is being taken apart quietly, from the roof and from below at the same time. There is no engine anywhere. The loudest thing on this planet is water. It is not a prediction. It is a measurement of how much of this planet is only held in place by us.